Marvel Rivals is gearing up for a huge launch with 33 heroes and 28 of them already being announced. We still have 5 more heroes to be revealed, but one of them was kind of confirmed to be Black Widow, and she should be a duelist. So if that's true, we still have 4 more spots. The issue lies in the overwhelming number of duelists compared to strategists and vanguards. It's hard to say how the players will adapt, but I hope the community experiments with different roles rather than sticking to the most popular ones. So just in general, we've heard a lot of speculation about who these remaining heroes could be. We've heard names like Wolverine, Iron Fist, Ultron, Cloak and Dagger all thrown around. I feel like in my comment section I've heard a plethora of names. And what only made it more confusing, I feel like, was the leaks that were posted all the way back in May. So honestly, it's tough to pin down who the next announcements will even be. But even if we get 2 more vanguards, 2 more strategists, and 1 more duelist, we still have a lopsided roster of 15 duelists. And for me, the biggest issue here is how this imbalance might shape player activity. If most players gravitate towards duelists, which they likely will, we saw it from the alpha and the beta, we'll see even fewer players willing to pick strategists and vanguards. That's a shame because strategists in particular feel incredibly impactful and fun to play in Rivals. To me, their kits were all made extremely well. You can make big plays, you can outsmart opponents, and you have tools to escape when needed, which makes it more fun and engaging than traditional supports, in my opinion, than games like League of Legends and Overwatch. It was generally overall satisfying gameplay experience playing strategists. I really enjoyed it. During the alpha and the beta, duelists were easily the most popular role. I did notice more players trying out strategists in the beta, and they were just more willing to fill. The imbalance in role representation, it creates a problem that adding even more duelists will only exacerbate. It's just a concern for the long-term health of the game. Overall, I just feel like Marvel Rivals needs to be bold, release new heroes across all roles, adjust balance when needed, and be willing to patch things as quickly as possible, or just on a weekly basis. But you never know though. NetEase could have a massive plan to release a plethora of heroes, and right now the flashiest one does seem to come from the duelist role. And honestly, if there's one thing you want when showcasing a new game, it's abilities from heroes like Psylocke and Hawkeye, and definitely not something from like Abomination or The Thing, especially since we already have the Hulk. They're probably just saving similar heroes for skins, or just releasing them later once they build a strong fan base. And I can see why. It's incredibly important for NetEase to showcase their potential, and with the destruction aspect of the game alone, I can see so much room for growth. And I already mentioned this briefly in a video in the past, where I explained how cool it would be for them to add abilities tied to destruction, but I was particularly intrigued by the concept of destruction respawning mid-game. At first, everything respawning felt a bit gimmicky, but it actually makes sense when you think about it from a competitive retake perspective. And in that video, I floated the idea of an Ebony Maw type hero with a Garry's Mod style fizz gun, who can basically just kind of throw all the destruction around, use it for himself, or just kind of have it for a shield. And it honestly fits his character perfectly. He's a psychic manipulative villain with telekinetic powers and genius level intellect. He'd make an exceptional strategist both in terms of gameplay and lore. And his glass cannon build and just frame overall would align perfectly with this role. But of course, the game hasn't even launched yet. And I'm just scared as someone who plays the Vanguard role, the duelist counterpicks are going to be way more prevalent almost every single game. And I hope with the few heroes offered in other roles, we can deal with those strong individual duelists. I don't really think that any duelist can solo carry the game at the moment, but the amount of work you can do playing Spider-Man alone or a Punisher with a Rocket Raccoon in a group, it's kind of absurd. The only real heroes who can handle like a Spider-Man effectively are Scarlet Witch, and the newer heroes like Psylocke and Moon Knight seem to have the potential to dish out incredible amounts of DPS, and the amount of mobility Psylocke has it's kind of crazy. The creativity from the duelist role and all their abilities makes me extremely excited to see how it's going to carry over to the strategist role. They're cooking. They actually are cooking. At the end of the day, they're not healers, they're not supports, they're strategists, and that distinction is super exciting to me. And with that, we have a leaked set of heroes that we know are already coming, and all we can do is wait to see what's next. And with 8 days of announcements left, 5 of those being new heroes, I'm super excited to see what's revealed. So make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for every new hero and skin as they're announced. Peace.